as for Erik Brannstrom, Pierre Dorian said today after the trade deadline, Erik Brannstrom is to fight for his ice time. And so that makes it seem, without question, that he will be the odd man out, and rightfully so. Listen, if you left this D group the way it was last night, are you okay with that? Which is Chychrun, Holden, Sanderson, Hammond, and then Zub and Chabot at the top. Would you leave it the way it is, or would you move Chychrun over to the right, or somebody? Pierre Dorian even said, listen, we think that even Thomas Chabot can play the right. I'm not sure that that's what you want to start doing, but they're making it seem like anybody can start playing on the right at any moment now.
Yeah, I think it'll play itself out. Like, give it some time here. I had a feeling Brannstrom was going to be the guy coming out. I don't love Brannstrom in the third pairing, and I like him more when he's in a spot where he's. I've said this before. I don't know if that's ever going to be possible now in Ottawa, especially now with Jakob Chychrun coming in, because your top four is pretty well set. So can he be a number 5? I think so. His defensive game's gotten better. But man, he's a guy when he does get an opportunity on the power play, he's pretty good. Like, that's his bread and butter. So that opportunity is never going to come here in Ottawa, but they'll address this at a later time. But to answer the first question, I think, and this is just my gut feeling, I think if you're in a series and you're starting, DJ is going to want 2 bigger, and he calls them rangy, longer defensemen. Yep. And that's a term you hear all the time. He's long, he's rangy, he covers a lot of ice. All things that, as well as Brannstrom plays, physically is not able to do. One thing the Senators are big on, and they practice it a lot, Wally, is boxing out. It's a lot harder when you're 5'9" to box somebody out versus Holden, who's, 6'4", and Hammond, who's 6'2", and Chychrun, they're all big. That whole decor is big. Yep. With the exception of Brannstrom. So just my opinion, I don't see him as an ideal bottom pairing defenseman. He's going to have to really fight to get his ice time.
And the thing about the playoffs is it's not about score, and this is going to sound weird maybe, but it's not about scoring goals. It's about keep them out of your own net at the end of the day, right? Because you're trying to win. And I know it's a little more scoring in these playoffs now, but you're trying to win 1-0 as opposed to giving up those goals. And that's where I think Brannstrom comes in. It's the defensive side of the game. But and there's lots of people in the chat right now that want to see Erik Brannstrom in the lineup over Nick Holden. Would you do that decision? And I know you just said you wouldn't play him as a bottom 3 pair. Would you elevate Erik Brannstrom in the lineup?
Why would you change the lineup after you just beat the Rangers? Why would you change it? It worked out pretty well, right? I wouldn't change it. It's not a back-to-back situation. I think going down the stretch here, experience is going to be really important. Experience of being in these situations before. Like I said earlier, Holden's been in these situations. Hammond's been in these situations, and then you got your top 4. Yeah. So I think Brannstrom will get in. I think he's earned it. He's played well this year. I think it'll all depend. It'll depend on what happens. It's this little run here is going to take probably every guy on the Ottawa Senators. Every guy's at one time or another is going to get in the lineup, and they're going to factor in. So I think to start, though, I think it probably remains status quo, just because of those guys are big, long, rangy guys. They're harder guys to play against, and it's just a fact.
So, point being said, Erik Brannstrom is the guy that seems to be the odd man out at the moment. We'll see how that all plays out.
For now, Wally.
Right. Absolutely. Hey, listen, now, lots of games left for people to get moved around.
Exactly. I can
tell you, Yorkie.
What's that?
I can tell you that Jakob Chychrun, Jake Sanderson, Thomas Chabot, Artem Zub, and Travis Hammond are not coming out of the lineup anytime soon, if at all, ever.
I'm going to give you a thanks tips.
Okay. So it's going to be a long slog for Erik Brannstrom down the stretch here is what I'm trying to say.
It'll be fine. So, he'll get back in. It'll be fine. Anyways, we should be talking about Jakob Chychrun. He just came and played a hell of a game on no sleep.